More Seiko action. Big thanks to the crew, Tyler, and everybody at Exquisite Timepieces, Naples, Florida. Link in the description. Of course, they have the entire Seiko lineup, the Grand Seiko lineup, but there's so much more. They're an authorized dealer for 60 brands, plus a massive, bigger than large, pre-owned selection where you can find everything from Seiko's on up. So get a hold of them, tell them I sent you. Let's get into this watch here. This is the Seiko SPB419er. Yes, you did catch a 9er in there. Using the movement automatic 6R 35 70-hour power reserve, beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Just solid movement. I've had no problems with them. You're going to see the 6R used in the higher end tier, but still entry level, if that makes sense. It's not the 8L, it's not the 4R. There's a few in between that, but that's the progression. It's going to go from the 4R to the 6R to the 8s and beyond. So this guy here, blue, special edition, not a limited edition, special edition. So they're not numbered, but it still is a special USA only release. So that's significant as well. You're not going to see this in any of the other markets. Like oftentimes we will, in the US, look to other markets for their special releases or limited releases that we can't get here. Well, hey, we got our own too, right? So that just balances everything out. This is based off a 1965 issued Seiko watch, the overall design. So they're sticking with that overall design characteristics, and they're just upgrading it with modern materials. Case size on this, I measure this as 40.5 millimeter wide. The lug to lug is a 47.6. You can see the case is mostly brushed with a couple polished reliefs, and you have drilled lugs. The thickness, I measure at 13.75 millimeter, so pretty close to that 13.5, which is about where you want to see divers. And sure, you can go thinner, but 13.5 gives it the right amount of substance, the right amount of thickness with the dive bezel, the sapphire crystal, which this has a single dome sapphire crystal. You can see that distortion there on the angles. It has, I believe, to be a stainless steel bezel insert that is coated in a nice blue colorway, and then has the relief white print with the loomed pip at the triangle there at the 60 mark. 120 click coin edge. I didn't finish my measurements, so let's back up a second. 20 millimeter lug width here. Bracelet tapers down to 18. Do have the Seiko dive extension, and you have the oversized keeper here, milled out center part, kind of a stamped but highly finished 4 micro adjust clasp here with, like I said, the oversized keeper. I really like this clasp. It keeps it nice and thin. The dive extension doesn't add any thickness to the clasp. It makes the bracelet a little weird in this part here, but if you size it properly with the pin and collar sizing on this, you should be able to negate that. What I typically say is go a little bit shorter on the 6 o'clock side, which is this side, and then that'll balance everything out. On the Caseback, I left the blue sticker on there, but you can see it's a special edition right there. It has the Prospex X, all that good stuff. 6.5 millimeter screw down crown, keeping the 200 meter water resist, and then we can go to the 120 click coin edge bezel. Nice action on this one. Lines up pretty good. A little easier to line these ones up because if you take a closer look, what they did is they put those hash marks for the minutes on the dial, and you have more of what we'd call a riot, which is that chapter ring or the part that separates in between the dial and the crystal on the underside. This one, you have a nice brushed stainless steel one, or aluminum, whatever it is, it's brushed metal. But it's more up and down, more vertical. It doesn't have an angle on it. So typically an angled one would be called or classified as a chapter ring. When it's straight up and down like that, I think technically it's a riot. I don't know if there's definitions of either of those, but that's just what I've picked up along the way. So let's just run with that, I suppose. Price point on this, $12.50. I think that's a solid price point, both for the fact that Seiko did a great job with this watch, And then with this particular model, a lot of people use it as a substitute for a much higher end watch, even though this always has been Seiko's watch all the way back to 1965, guys. But I understand where it's similar in size as, say, a Tudor Black Bay 58, right? It's similar in size to that. So I have noticed, including myself, where we'll be like, well, this is a really good, affordable option without really compromising the fact that this is an in-house watch. It's a Seiko watch, Seiko movement. It's all in-house, right? And they have the pedigree and the history, and this is its own watch. So I think it stands alone on its own merit, but I also understand the connection there with, you know, kind of putting it in that category. I do somewhat justify it as well. And I think you'd be well spent to pick up one of these. They have a bunch of different colorways, more options to do. They're much easier to source, both new and used, from, you know, Saltzman's at the authorized dealer, and also in their pre-owned selection. You will find different colorways of this watch. Let's pop it on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. This is the other beauty of this particular watch, is it works on many wrist size. With this factory bracelet, it does extend the lug to lug a little bit, but you could put this on a different strap, a NATO, FKM rubber, or there's even some other companies out there that make bracelets for this watch. And it clearly works on my 7 1/4 inch wrist, and it works on people probably all the way down to like just over 6 1/2 inch wrist. So it's a very versatile watch. And I don't think anybody could argue that against that. Now let's give this a quick blast with my new UV light. I can do it even from a distance. I'm like a foot away from this thing and I'm still blasting it. I need to like fully vet that flashlight, and I'm going to probably make sure everyone knows about that flashlight. So as we shut off the lights here and check out the lume, again, big thanks to the team at Exquisite Timepieces. Link in the description. Tell them I sent you. They have, when I was just down there, I'm telling you, man, they have pretty much every Seiko that a Seikoholic could ever want there, both in the new cabinet and in the pre-owned cabinet. They have a mind-blowing inventory of Seikos. So check them out. Tell them I sent you. I'll see you in the next vid.